Hello, this is Second Impressions, Estound's web series where we discuss real questions about marketing and provide business insiders insight on important issues. I'm Trevor Heaton, and I've got my colleagues Greg Bond and Erik Wolf with me. Erik Wolf is the one who looks somewhat like a bear right now with his beard.
I'm not sure that I'm fond of that term, Trevor.
No? Bears can be cuddly?
There's a lot of connotations, man.
I know. Walking a fine
Speaking
line.
of, you got a cracked lip. It looks like you might have gotten into a fight or something. Or is that just the wind?
You looking for another one? It's good that
we're talking about how we look.
Yes.
I thank you for noticing. Yes, that is a crack lip. All right. Guys, let's jump into this. I can channel somebody watching this in the future who's saying, get past it. Let's get on with it. So here we go. We got a question from Anne, and she's in the telecom industry. And her question is, our sales engine is working great, but our marketing engine just can't get off the ground. How can marketing better enable our sales team to hit the numbers we need to justify the marketing expenses? What are your thoughts?
I think we have many thoughts, and we don't always know what kind of organization that this is when we get the question. So I think that we'll tackle this. I'd like to tackle this from two angles. One is based on maybe like a younger organization that's just trying to get off the ground with marketing versus an organization that maybe has a more mature marketing department and isn't quite seeing the response there or the benefit. So from the perspective of a younger organization, marketing it can be really, really tough to get your arms around, because what you do is, especially more immature organizations do something that I call checklist marketing, where they say, hey, if we do our email newsletter and we do our SEO and we have a Facebook page and we have a LinkedIn page and we're doing this, we've got Google Analytics, check. Why isn't it working? And so that can be a really difficult place to be, because folks feel like they are investing in marketing. They feel like they are doing what they should be doing, but they're not getting the results. And so either one of two things must be true: that either they're not doing it right, they're doing something wrong, and all they need to do is fire their current marketing people, put new marketing people in, and it's going to work. Or number two, that marketing just doesn't work for our organization. And what's probably true is neither, which is that you haven't really articulated what your objectives are for marketing. The people who are in charge of marketing aren't working towards those objectives, because usually they're working towards the checklist, and you get a misalignment, and the things that are being done don't actually line up with what we're trying to accomplish. So I would suggest that if you're a younger organization that hasn't been doing marketing for very long, or that's really just trying to get their feet wet, I would start by setting really clear objectives and figuring out what are the things that need to happen in order for us to reach these objectives. And let's deploy marketing on those things. Let's not worry about the tactics. Let's not worry about the list. Just worry about getting the actual job done and worry about the results.
Right.
Part of what makes all of what Erik's describing as difficult is with operations and other types of business activities, it's really easy to see like what work you're doing and the results that it's generating. With marketing, if you're not associating the things that you're doing with a specific type of an objective, then it's really hard to wrap your head around how the activities that you're doing on a day-to-day basis are in any way relating to results or failures, more likely. So it's a really tough thing. We want to attribute like that checklist with an outcome. Like that's what ultimately it does. That the checklist is giving us something tangible something that we could all agree to and just say this is an objective way of doing marketing. But really, you're using that something that feels a little more concrete as a means of avoiding the bigger discussions, the harder ones that have to do with like, what do you envision your business being in a year or 2 years? And then what should marketing's role be within that vision? And so that's where we get all this like misalignment and spinning of wheels, and then just blaming marketing as it ends up being a fallout boy. We just get to kind of whip it, and all of our problems get put in that box.
May I say, sir, you sound so much more intelligent now that you're wearing the glasses. Like I just take it so seriously. Whew.
Well, and it's after the last 6 weeks of being a fallout boy. I've had some really good experience. Beginning of the year is a really hard time because what we're doing on our end with our clients is having those hard discussions. It's really about like having like, okay, what happened over the last year? What can we objectively say occurred? How did this relate to a vision that we had outlined or not? And being just super matter of fact about those successes and failures. I think even, marketing companies themselves probably play into these stereotypes more often than not, because they want to, the results they know they can get are the checklist. We did our 3 blog posts a month. We did our email newsletter. And so they're feeding into it, as opposed to, putting themselves in that difficult position of being a truth teller and trying to be objective.
It is very difficult to be a truth teller in marketing. And one of the things that's really interesting about the concept of truth telling in marketing is that everybody talks about marketing as that the problem with marketing is that it's a black box, and I put money in, and then something comes out, but I don't understand how that works or what's going on or what the thing that is coming out has to do with my business and making me successful. And you can be very, very frustrated about the black box, and that frustration is warranted. It is exceedingly frustrating when you feel that way. What a lot of folks don't realize is that the black box isn't being built by marketing. Very often it's being built by the organization. And so when you're having that those discussions, the reason that things don't line up and the reason that you don't understand exactly how your sausage is getting made is because the checklist and the business and the money, they're all disparate. And so you can actually open up the black box if everybody is actually moving towards the same goal. And we say, well, what we really want is to grow revenue by at least 5% in this period of time. How can marketing contribute to that? Well, that means that marketing needs to deliver on A, B, and C, and sales needs to deliver on C, D, and E. And we need to be able to actually watch those things happen and track that success. If we do that, the black box is gone. The black box is only created by the fact that we're willing to spend money on a checklist and just hope that everything works out.
So the black box just isn't for swag, bouncy balls, and
Pens
and paperweights.
Coffee mugs. Those are what's the ROI on a coffee mug? I don't know.
Right. Hey, you know what? This does bring up a good, and you can tell me if this is appropriate, but the that assessment that we have on the website where people can go in and take an assessment and kind of see what they're doing with their marketing and where there may be gaps in aligning their sales and marketing together. Would that be an appropriate link to put up here?
Yeah, absolutely. We can definitely link to that. The link is estound.com/diagnostic. And we will have a link added across the screen in post, but the But what we see in people taking that diagnostic and going through that process is that very often folks believe that they're really good at envisioning their destination. And they think that they're good at doing the work at the end of the cycle, but actually the planning and the evaluation of whether things are working or not, and the measurement, all of that stuff is where, for most companies that we're seeing, that a big portion of that gap is. And so figuring out what it is that you're missing in that process is obviously super duper helpful.
Yeah. The directing and managing.
No, that assessment is great. And I think that really does, I hadn't thought about it until now, but does line up perfectly with what we're talking here, and the alignment between sales and marketing, and how you bring those two departments together for reaching the same goals.
Mm-hmm. So. And when all else fails, somebody has to be accountable to it. You have to have somebody in the position that is responsible for getting that boulder up the hill. And sometimes when it's a smaller organization like we're discussing, that person may not exist. So getting somebody into that position and making sure their performance and their job is associated with it is also important. It's really hard to do this stuff when you have 20 other priorities in your organization that you're responsible for.
Perfect. Any last thoughts, gentlemen?
That's all I got.
Perfect.
I feel like we answered it. We did the thing.
No, I think we did the thing. I think that was really good. I do think the carry over to doing that assessment, for those of you watching this and have found it helpful, that'll give you a lot of information, a lot of tips and tricks that you can use and implement in your own organization. You can see where the gaps are and where you're falling short, and some areas of improvement. So we'll put that link up there. Go ahead and go to that at Estound. It's the assessment. We'll have the link there. And if you have any questions, email us at secondimpressions@estound.com. We'll be glad to cover your question. Anything related to marketing, let us know. We're glad to help out. Until next time, appreciate you tuning in. Be well. See you again soon.
Bye, everybody.
Thanks.